This special edition of Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone is live at the Omaha Baseball Village. Powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and Children's Nebraska. Here's Mike Schaefer and Tyler Cavalli on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, welcome into this special edition of Middays with Matt. You might be able to tell whether you're watching on the stream or you're listening on your radio. I am not Matt. I'm not from Chicago. I don't have a mustache beard thing going on. Just a beard. Just a beard for me. I'm Mike Schaefer, joined by Tyler Cavalli here at the Omaha Baseball Village for another fun day here of the College World Series. And, of course, 1620 The Zone has you covered with these great shows that we have going on today, as well as the Westwood One coverage for the games that you will be able to catch, including West Virginia and North Carolina, which starts at 1 o'clock today, coverage beginning at 12:40. John Bishop, Connor Happer on the call. Josh Peterson will be down there on the field. There's Connor Happer walking by right now. He's waving. You can't see it because it's radio. You probably can't even see it on the stream because he's the other way. But that's what we have going on here today. Of course, these shows powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours and by Children's Nebraska. Plus, come by the Zone Boop inside the Omaha Baseball Village for some chewy granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. Sunbelt Bakery, chewy granola bars, tastiest flavors under the sun. We have them sitting out. They're right in front of Tyler. I already told him, it's a little bit warmed up by the sun. It's pretty good with the oatmeal granola bar. And Tyler, let's get you introduced here to our listeners. You are yet another member of the Central Nebraska crew joining us, helping us out here, doing some CWS radio as we are spread throughout the coverage here this week. Tyler, introduce yourself. Tell us about you. I was going to come up with one of those dumb icebreakers and really kind of put you on the spot, but then I just decided instead of that, I'm going to let you just go where you want. I'm going to start asking you random questions.
Well, I think part of it is I didn't know that I had to have a mustache and or beard to be here.
No, you're good.
It
you look
like
very
that's a
clean.
Requirement.
The guy that I've been talking to most of the week sitting in this spot is disheveled. Yeah. He thinks he has a mustache, but it's really just he hasn't shaved his beard, and so it's a whole thing. But you're clean. You're put together.
Well,
you're not from
tomorrow.
Chicago, so we're already off to a good start that way.
No, I did fly into Chicago the other day.
Okay.
Just flew into
you can visit
that
Chicago.
counts, right?
So I have to say, all of the airports in the country, my least favorite are in Chicago. I feel like I bag on Chicago a lot, mostly as a bit with Matt, but their airports are awful. O'Hare, not great. Midway, also not great.
I've flown into Midway once, O'Hare a ton. I would agree with you. It's not my favorite out
Sure.
of all of them. There's maybe a few worse, but it is kind of a lousy airport.
Yeah, it's just tough because usually if you're flying from Omaha, and I don't know, maybe you're coming out of Grand Island or somewhere else, but you fly into Omaha into Chicago, you're put into the far edge.
Yes.
You're dropped into that area. You come out of the plane, which it's just hot, and you're ready to be off the plane, and there's always a guy 5 rows behind you who bolts up when the plane lands and all that sort of stuff. You finally get off the plane, and it feels like you just go into somewhere where a bomb did literally go off because O'Hare or Midway, like, it's just always everyone's panicked. Like it's never chill. It's never laid back. There's other airports you go to where like I feel this way about the Denver airport. I feel this way about I'm trying to think of other ones that I hit. Like there's a bunch of the smaller kind of regional ones of Nashville.
But you're right though in terms of the panic.
Everyone's panicked.
Your head has to be on a swivel. I mean, it legit has to be.
You might get taken out if you're
a 5-year-old.
Right.
I mean, seriously, it's that dangerous. But you're also right about when you come in, because I flew out of Lincoln or Kearney sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to O'Hare, you're on the small little jets.
Sure.
Right? I was joking the other day we were meeting up with some friends. I was like, I feel like I've been driving on this area longer than I was in the air. Because you're right, because you fly into like the farthest portion of
and
O'Hare.
then you taxi forever.
Oh my goodness, we drove forever. So we survived.
Right. So you were in Chicago recently.
Yes.
Tell us about how you ended up at the Central Nebraska stations, because you get there by way of Colorado.
I did, yeah. So I not traditionally in any kind of media radio background, right? I grew up on a ranch where raised cattle up in the mountains of Colorado, and we ended up moving. My family did to western Nebraska to.
Okay.
It's a little easier. I don't know if you know this, to raise cattle on
Yeah,
actual
I had
pasture.
questions.
Yeah.
When not that I'm any sort of cattle raising expert. I would default to you in almost every situation.
Well, look, when the town I grew up in the mountains, was almost 11,000 feet.
Okay, where at?
So Leadville.
Okay.
So not far from like Vail.
Well,
from
buddy that
Breckenridge
used to run
area.
that event every year, the Leadville,
There's like marathons.
the Leadville 100 or whatever?
Yeah.
The Leadville.
Now you either run it or you can bike it.
Yeah, no, he runs
it.
He's
That's
insane.
insane.
He's won the event. Like, he's
so,
an insane individual.
So part of the loop would be around the ranch that I grew up on. In fact, when I was a little kid, we would like go to the edge of our driveway and like set up like a little lemonade stand.
Oh, that's awesome.
The problem is, when we're young, we don't know that nobody's going to stop for us. They're on a journey for 100 miles, and the last thing they want is probably some sugary, nasty drink from these random 6-year-olds at the end of their driveway. Nonetheless, it was easier to raise cattle in western Nebraska.
Sure,
right?
that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, when it's not snowing most of the year. Beautiful up in the summer, but your summer is literally like 10 minutes long of the year because you have just awful winters, just feet and feet of snow. So then we ended up in western Nebraska, and then I eventually ended up in central Nebraska. I just keep migrating east, essentially.
Okay. So pretty soon we're going to see you over here, whether it's Lincoln or Omaha.
Right, one of the two.
Are you going to stop at the edge of Nebraska, or are you going to allow yourself to fall into the abyss known as Iowa?
I think maybe we just skip Iowa, right?
Many people have tried to do this.
Can we do that?
Tyler is already. I haven't thought about power ranking the Central Nebraska guys, but that alone might move you to
goes up there. Yeah. Look, that's all I needed. It makes up for the beardless in the mustache, right?
I don't have any problem with that at all.
I know. No, it's been good so far in Central Nebraska. You and I actually came out of the company pretty much at the same time. Learned in January. So you and I are freshlings.
The relative newbies of our industry, of our joint venture here. So tell me, what's your biggest sport interest? Like, did you get into Husker football when you moved over here? Have you gotten into Husker football since you've lived in Nebraska, or is it you were kind of, Colorado guy, like pro sports are king there. Yeah. I already know I've had well-placed informants. Broncos. I was told that you do engage with Rockies, which is
more than I should.
Difficult existence.
Yeah, more than I should.
I give you a ton of credit. I always have a ton of respect for of the people in sports who root for sad sack franchises. It's one thing if it's football and there's 16 games and you're a Cleveland Browns fan and it's probably been brutal.
Yeah.
162 games of the Monforts and that ownership all the time. Like, that's tough.
It is tough. In fact, like, we keep hearing these rumors, Rocky fans, and that obviously what the Penners are doing with the Broncos, right? All right, you already have all the money under the sun. Why not try to buy the Rockies too? So I think that's kind of maybe the hope.
Don't they have a little bit of a stake?
They
in the
just did.
Diamondbacks?
They just no. They just got a little bit of the Rockies.
Okay.
Just like a
But
couple
I thought
months
they had
ago.
like a piece, or maybe it's a different part of their
Sell
their
that,
group
get all in on the Rockies,
or whatever.
That's
But,
my point. Get out of the
I hope so.
Diamondbacks.
I absolutely love Coors Field.
It's beautiful.
It is one of my 5 favorites. So I've probably been to 20-ish ballparks.
Cool. I'm
It's
jealous,
in my top
jealous.
5.
Yeah.
It's going to hold court in there. Really, the 4 of those stadiums in there, it's going to be really hard for somebody to move them out. So,
It really is.
and Coors Field is gorgeous.
Everything about it is beautiful.
Yeah.
They're nice, cheap tickets for now, right? For the
Yeah.
most part. Here's
But
the
people
problem.
show up. People like going
Yes.
to games there.
Because it's such a cool environment inside. They redid like their right field upper deck area where it's a party zone. I mean, you can get in there for like $5, right? And then you
Done
have
several bachelor parties up in there, right?
It's an awesome spot to do that. Yeah, it really
Been
is.
very worried about falling out of that down to at the time Carlos Gonzalez roaming in right field.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and they have like before the game $3 beers, which you can't find that anywhere. I mean, you literally can't find it anywhere until first pitch.
I love that whole area. I love the downtowns nearby.
Yeah, they
Lake
built
Street
up around
Tavern,
Coors Field.
all of that. Yeah, there was a stretch there. I probably hit a Rockies game every year for about 4 or 5 years.
You never had a bad time, did you?
No, never. Like, it's one. I know enough people in the Denver area that I've always got people to either go with, or it's pretty easy to be like, hey, you got nothing this weekend. We can go get cheap tickets. We got somewhere free to stay. Let's go out to Denver and spend our time at a couple Rockies games. Not a hard sell.
There are worse places to spend your time.
Definitely worse places. You know what isn't a hard sell? getting people down here to the Omaha Baseball Village. Always a ton of energy. It's a little slow this morning. It'll pick up. No doubt about it. It will pick up. All right. We will roll along with a special edition of Middays with Matt, which, of course, hour one here presented by Union Bank and Trust at UBT. People don't have your money. Your money has people. Member FDIC. One last thing here. Save the date for Friday night, live at the bat, Friday, June 19th. Now, I have lost track of the days being down here a fair amount. I'm sure Josh Hodgson has no idea what day of the week it is. That is a couple dates from now. Friday, June 19th, Pet Rock plays at OBB for the first time. Grab your friends. Get ready to party. An all-ages show. Bring your kids. See you next Friday at the mat. We'll be back. We'll dive into some sports talk here. We'll get to know Tyler a little bit more throughout the show today. He is here for both shows. He might be here tomorrow if we are here tomorrow. And for that to happen, West Virginia or Georgia have to come away with a win today. We'll be back with more special edition of Middays with Matt here on 1620 The Zone.
From tough jobs to weekend road trips, Ford trucks are built with the power and built Ford tough durability you can count on every day. And now at Woodhouse Ford, it's even easier to upgrade with employee pricing available across the full lineup of Ford trucks. That means honest, straightforward savings on the trucks drivers trust most. Whether you're hauling, towing, or traveling, now's the time to find your perfect Ford truck. Visit Woodhouse Ford in Omaha, Blair, or Plattsmouth, or shop online today.
Since this is a radio commercial, you can't see the people standing behind me. They're the Langfeld family. Everybody wave. Oh, sorry, you can't see them because radio. Anyway, the Langfelds are the family behind Langfeld Overhead Door, where they proudly install Midland garage doors to fit any space and style, and they don't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to their service. Because if something goes wrong, it's their name on the line. So they're going to make sure it goes right every single time. Langfeld Overhead Door, 402-234-2700.
Unlock the value of a commercial landscape partner that delivers on every detail. Perfect Cut specializes in commercial grounds maintenance, snow and ice management, and landscape architecture, keeping your property safe, attractive, and ready for business. Our expert team handles the toughest jobs with precision. Choose Perfect Cut for reliability, expertise, and results that speak for themselves. Go to perfectcut.com today to schedule your appointment with us. Elevate your property's potential with Perfect Cut. perfectcut.com.
Hey, welcome back. Here, special edition of Middays with Matt, Mike Schaefer, Tyler Cavalli here at the Zone booth inside the Omaha Baseball Village. Get over here, get yourself registered to win the 1620 The Zone prize pack of Kansas City Royals porch tickets, ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's, and it's at 13th and Mike Fahey. It's kind of an interesting thing there. Powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours and Children's Nebraska. Let's just jump right into this. Let's get our defensive play of the game, which of course is presented by Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
The 0-1. Robbins lines it, and it's caught by Phelps. The third baseman lunging into foul ground makes the catch, and the inning is over.
All right, that was Trey Phelps making a big catch for Georgia yesterday. Georgia wins that game 2-0 to eliminate Texas. Kind of a fascinating game, not a lot of offense. Yep. Georgia struck out 17 times yesterday. Texas pitching staff did a very good job limiting a very good Georgia offense, and yet Texas, which put up a ton of runs on Alabama in its own elimination game the day before, could not scratch anything out, and they didn't really even threaten, Tyler. Like it wasn't there wasn't a whole lot of activity on the base paths for the Longhorns. The Bulldogs did a great job of limiting. I want to say there's maybe total of 4 hits and 3 walks, so like 7 total base runners. And you know, when you can control traffic like that, and obviously the home runs do happen here at Charles Schwab, but it takes more of a. I mean, you really got to power that thing out. But this is, you know, these are the sort of games that you kind of get at the College World Series where a pitching staff is able to control things. And that's what Georgia was able to do. Not known for their pitching, certainly more known for the ability to bludgeon a team, as Texas found out in the 7-1 game. And then, you know, I'm a little surprised that game last night ended up at 2-0.
Well, I think you get it's one end of the spectrum or the other, right? You either get the kind of the one lopsided game, what we saw with West Virginia, where
sure,
you know, obviously they kind of ran away with it a little bit late, or you get the pitching duel that we had. I mean, Texas, their starting pitcher Harrison had 11 strikeouts yesterday. He was phenomenal, as you mentioned, 17 overall for Texas pitching. But it's as you get this late into the tournament, it obviously is how rested or how amped are your pitchers. And sometimes, again, I think you get both ends of the spectrum, either a blowout or you get these tight, close games where pitchers, they're in the zone. They're into it. They are controlling it, and it's going to be a 1 or 2 run game. And that's kind of what we saw, even in Georgia's pitching. I mean, aspects of it too, right? I mean, they pitched really well. Their starter had 8 strikeouts, 12 overall there as well. You mentioned they only did allow between the two teams. Georgia had only 5 hits. Texas had 4 hits. Yeah. And it wasn't until, you know, midway and later in the game that Georgia was able to crack through. So it's a tough loss if you're a Texas Longhorn fan, but Georgia able to eke it out here in what was a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, it was an entertaining game. It was one of those where you kept sort of waiting for Texas to kind of mount what it had going on. And then, of course, as we've learned, and you're a baseball guy, you get this, you can't put guys on in the 5th inning. It's a scoreless game. Texas walks the first guy, and, you know, Georgia immediately goes small ball. They recognize what kind of game you're in. It's 0-0 in the 5th inning. You get them over to second, and you get them eventually over to third, and finally someone comes through with a hit with a runner in scoring position, which is just sort of gold for you at this point in the 0-0 game. And Phelps, who had the great defensive play, gets to double to left, and it allows Hudson to score, and they go up 1-0. And then later in the game, and I know you were driving, so I don't know if you saw highlights of this or not.
Some of it.
But there's a fly ball. Fly ball's kind. It's more of a pop-up out to short left.
Yeah.
And
I saw that.
Again, you played the sport. You get it. I don't know what position you played. I'm going to make a guess sort of looking at you. I'm going middle infield.
Outfield, actually.
Outfield. All
Loved
right.
playing outfield.
You were roaming out there.
I was. Center field. Put me out
You
there.
loved diving for it?
Did
you ever purposely slow play something so you could have the dive?
Yeah, the girlfriends were out there watching. Yeah, of course, right? I can't get the long ball.
So,
That's
so
strong
you're an
enough for that.
outfielder. And so you definitely get this. That ball's hit to short left,
Yes.
very short left, which puts it in that, not really no man's, but it's that territory where you're going to get a lot of people converging on the ball.
Yep.
Texas' shortstop, which I believe is Aiden Rodriguez, who had the big day the other day ago with the cycle. He's out there. The left fielder's coming in. You're converging on it. You got a runner on third. Conventional wisdom, you let the left fielder take it. His momentum is going to the plate. He's going to have the better chance of a throw. Instead, Rodriguez snags the ball and then flat-footed, and this tells you how strong his arm is. Flat-footed throws a one-hopper to the catcher that beats the runner to the plate, and Texas is unable to get the tag down in perfect fashion to get that out. I can't remember who was running on that for Georgia. Looks like Black here scores, so he was running. He's able to just stretch those arms just around the tag, and they go to review it. See the same thing that everybody else sees at home, and it just makes you wonder if you get the left fielder making that throw, at least it keeps it at a one-run game, which then makes it a one-swing game throughout.
But to your point, it was impressive that Rodriguez was able to make that play.
Strength.
I mean, also trying to avoid the collision and then turn around and get it there in time as well. I mean, that process was impressive to make it that close.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, that's some gutsy running there on third base too, right? I mean, it's not like it was that deep.
No, it wasn't. It was, I mean, maybe 15, 20 feet past the bag at third base.
Yeah, I mean,
which sounds like a lot, but it's really not.
No.
And, like the old adage of you make a play, and you be aggressive. It's college baseball. You want to make them prove that they can do it. And he, Rodriguez damn near did.
Yeah.
He nearly threw him out, and would have really been an interesting situation if that's just a one-run game in the ninth. Now, again, Texas never really threatened. They never really made Georgia feel like they were uncomfortable there in the ninth inning. And so Georgia able to take that game 2-0. You mentioned the West Virginia game a little bit. 12-0 win over Troy. Same kind of thing early in the game. It's 0-0. This game, you knew there was going to be more runs, just kind of the nature of these two teams. Certainly the nature of the way Troy has played baseball in the postseason thus far. And so you were expecting that there would be some offense in this thing. And then it finally arrives. And for West Virginia, they were able to just kind of fill it up. And I think Troy just it finally had a game that got away from them. They had done such a great job responding every time they had put up, allowed runs. And they came back with response runs. Yesterday was just kind of the end of the line there.
Well, and I think to your point of it, they have always had an answer. They've rallied back throughout this entire postseason. That's kind of been their magic, right?
Yeah.
To get them to this point. And I think even probably West Virginia, even when they had a big, they probably didn't feel as comfortable as they wanted to.
5-0 doesn't feel that great against a team that,
And until you score those 5 runs in the ninth, you're like, all right, we got this game at this point. But otherwise, because Troy, that's been their MO, their issue was they also left a lot of guys out there too. They had some opportunities. I think didn't they have one inning where the bases were loaded with no outs?
Yep.
And they didn't bring in a single run. They left 13 guys on the base paths. They left they were 1 of 13 overall with runners in scoring position. So tough day overall. But Troy did have some opportunities, and I think they're going to look back and like, dang, you had to get those.
Overall, just you kind of mentioned it, like they were sort of this team in this postseason that if they put themselves in an early hole, they were able to find their way out of it. Obviously couldn't against West Virginia, but in general, what a tremendous year for that baseball program, getting to even be in this spot in Omaha as a 3 seed in the Florida Regional. You lose early, you got to fight all your way back through.
Yep.
And then, Florida thinks that they're sitting pretty good up, going into those games in that regional final where you're up 2 games effectively. And Troy never allowed Florida a chance.
Yeah.
They just bludgeoned the hell out of them. And then they catch Little Rock in the Super Regional, and they take care of them. They get a really good first game with West Virginia and kind of back and forth and made the Mountaineers sweat a little bit. And then they just took it.
Yeah.
Like absolutely took it to Ole Miss.
Yeah, and again, I think West Virginia, it's just, to your point, you said 5 runs, you don't feel as comfortable, but they needed almost those other 5 runs. Yeah. Because here's the other thing, too. If Troy knows, all right, we've had these opportunities, and if they get to the 9th inning, which they still had some runners on in scoring position, even in the 9th inning, and still obviously it didn't bring anything as well, you had to slam the doors shut because we've seen some crazy things happen here in Omaha and just in the postseason in general over the years.
Yeah, interesting with these 2 different games. You have the teams moving on, and West Virginia used 4 pitchers, which starts to become a thing now.
Yes.
Certainly,
yep.
The deeper you get into the tournament, and then Georgia only needed 2.
Yeah,
and so their arsenals will be available. They have to play. They have to win 2 games in order to get to the finals here. So you are expecting you're going to need every arm that's available, and so in both situations, you get the shutout. You don't have a lot of stressful innings. You don't have a lot of stressful pitches on those arms. So those should be some healthy stabs as we get into the game today. So, all right, we're going to take a quick time out here on a special edition with Middays with Matt. Of course, hour 1 presented by Union Bank at UBT. People don't have your money. Your money has people. Member FDIC. And, of course, 1620 The Zone hydration sponsor. Nothing says happy birthday, America, like an ice-cold Coca-Cola. This summer, pick up a Coca-Cola and drink in America's 250th birthday. So we'll be back. We're going to talk a little Donovan McNabb Jr.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah.
All right, find out more. Stick around. Special edition of Middays with Matt here at the Omaha Baseball Village. 1620 The Zone, powered by Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. Also, today's Middays with Matt, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. So, it is, we're in this phase now, and I feel like, I don't know, I'm in my 30s. This is just what happens. The athletes of which you watched when you were a kid. I don't know how old Tyler is. I'm
30s as well.
okay. You seem younger than that.
Look,
Or
I get that all the time.
Present younger than that,
In
I guess.
fact, the other day I got carded for a lottery ticket, so that's really fun.
Wow.
And that's not even like a joke or whatever.
You only have to
actually
be
did happen.
18 to get a lot.
I look at least 18.
You look at least
right?
25.
At least 18.
Yeah,
I
I
agree
didn't
with
think
you.
that you were that young, but I assumed you were still in your late 20s.
Nope, almost mid-30s now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Fountain of youth over here.
Well, I'll take it, right?
We could be near the same age and nobody would believe it at all, which is not good for me. But you get this. I mean, you remember Donovan McNabb with, I sort of even remember him with Syracuse, but certainly with the Eagles.
Yeah.
He's the worst. I'm a Vikings fan. The worst Vikings quarterback that I can remember in the sense that he was truly heinous the year that Leslie Frazier decided that he needed to be the starting quarterback.
I almost forgot that he played for the Vikings.
Well, I think it'd be better if
probably,
I did.
yeah, it's probably good. Yeah.
They kept doing a thing where the defense would spot them points with an early takeaway and they wouldn't have to do much. And then they could be up like 13-0. They had like 3 weeks in a row where they basically just blew a double-digit lead. Even though the defense was good, the offense just never built on the lead. And so then the defense would eventually just wear out in the second half and the other team would win like 16-13 or 17-14 or whatever. So Donovan McNabb was a truly wonderful experience in 2012. I think when he got hurt, ultimately is what opened the door for the Christian Ponder era. 2011.
That's right.
And then as short-lived as that was. But
that's right.
So when I think of Donovan McNabb, you think about the Eagles teams and how good they were there.
Yep.
He actually played for the Commanders for a brief moment in time. But really, it was the Eagles. It was Andy Reid. It was the team that finally broke through after all of those sort of years of which they couldn't get by somebody, whether it was the Bucs or somebody else in the NFC Championship game. And so really good athlete, good player, a guy that, Nebraska, I think, recruited as a multi-sport player under Tom Osborne at one point in time, and he ended up going to Syracuse, where I think he played a little basketball as well. His son, Donovan McNabb Jr., is committed to UNLV, and it made me sort of think, and I was curious about this, like, how often do you get it where you have the superstar father? I don't know that Donovan McNabb, certainly with no Super Bowls, is a Hall of Famer. But I think it's fair to say that there was a stretch of time where he was one of the, 5 to 6 best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah. If he was in the NBA, Hall of Famer. But NFL, thankfully,
a little bit
more structured.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm glad you said that, because I have felt like, I think if you go through the, it gets analyzed a ton they let anybody in. It's basically baseball, football in the middle, of the professional sports, and then the NBA.
Basketball,
I have no idea what hockey is, so I apologize to our hockey listeners. I have no clue.
I have no idea either.
I assume it's a really how many teeth that you lost throughout the course of your career.
It's got to be that.
Is sort of the equivalent
if it's
of
not,
3,000 hits.
It should be.
But with Donovan McNabb, really, really good player. I just think we don't often see it where the son is the equal of the dad. It usually works where the dad is like a journeyman and then the son is somehow a Hall of Famer or really, really good. Examples being not to insult Del Curry, but I don't think people think of Del Curry as
absolutely not
a tremendous
absolutely
NBA
not.
player.
I don't think
they know him as the dad of
he doesn't even think of himself that way. There's no way Del thinks that of himself.
But then his son is, amazing. Meanwhile, you have LeBron James, whose son is in the NBA only because he is.
Yes.
LeBron James. Michael Jordan's kids famously did not amount to much at UCF or wherever they ended up at, FIU maybe.
Yeah.
So you've got these guys. Is there anyone that comes to mind? There's a few that I could think of, but is there anybody that comes to mind where his son is equally as good, if not slightly better than dad, who was a star?
So I was looking earlier, and I had immediately thought of some, but I'm like, let me do some deep diving just to see if there's any I'm missing. And the one I'm like, oh, duh. Because I grew up, again, going back to what we talked about to begin the show, is being a Broncos fan, right? Ed McCaffrey was fantastic.
Okay. Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
That's a really good one.
Yeah, Ed
actually.
McCaffrey won Super Bowls. I mean,
Well,
obviously,
they have what 5, 6 boys. So
Yeah.
really what Ed was doing is that he was giving himself chances. You know, if it didn't work with Dylan, if it didn't work with Luke, if it didn't work with, what he's very smart by Ed.
And then
McCaffrey
he coached. He was their coach at Christian Valor in Denver as well. And they won multiple state titles.
Yeah.
But Ed obviously, but then you have Christian McCaffrey, who no one can disagree, far in a better way, better than his dad.
Yeah.
At this point,
Ed was really good.
Yeah,
but
of course
Christian
he was
McCaffrey was
fantastic.
Ed was never the best wide receiver in the NFL.
No.
Christian McCaffrey was the most dangerous offensive player / best running back.
Great fantasy kid as well to have. Just throwing that out there. If you ever had, especially the last couple of years, if he wasn't injured, just throw that out there. But he is one of them. One recently is Marvin Harrison Jr., right?
Sure.
We don't know enough about him.
We don't know if he's quite going to be to
Correct.
the level of what a Marvin Harrison. So jumping sports here, if you go to baseball, I think the most obvious one right now, even though he's not having a particularly good season, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Guerrero, Hall of Fame dad. Looks like he's at least on the trajectory of being a really, really good player. Maybe, I don't know if he'll be a Hall of Famer. I don't know exactly what baseball's Hall of Fame is going to look like with the numbers and everything going to be so different. But
do you ever get to, when you're just watching a casual game, right, and or whatever team that you're following, and then the other team comes in, and you're like, I haven't watched them in a while, and you're like, wait a second, is that this guy's son? Like Bo Bichette is Dante Bichette's son, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, and he was really good for the Blue Jays for quite a while. Now
now you got the Holidays. If you're thinking about the Rockies,
exactly,
you got Ethan and you got Jackson, and those guys are going to be in baseball for a while. Bo Bichette has a brother, so there was Dante Bichette Jr.
I did not know.
Never made it out of the minors.
Okay,
I believe he was also in the Toronto system.
Interesting. Did not know.
So,
but I love just watching games like, oh, that's the son. Had no idea.
It's fun for me when it crosses sports, where like as someone who covered a lot of recruiting. The boxer Evander Holyfield had a son who was a really good running back in high school. He was an okay running back for Georgia. You kind of get that a little bit, where I remember when I first got into covering recruiting, Trey Griffey was a wide receiver that ended up at Arizona State. And obviously his dad being Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. being the son of Ken Griffey Sr. Like there's one there. But I would argue again, like, the son was so much better. Like the dad, good player.
Right.
The son, obviously, at least for those of us growing up in the 90s, the epitome of cool when it comes to baseball.
Well, I'm looking at, because I'm trying to refresh my memory. No, I was wrong. I was going to say, because I always watched hockey here and there, and one of them was Dylan Larkin.
Okay.
And I thought his dad was blanking on his name.
The Chichucks, if you wanted to go hockey. With Keith and then his two sons that are massively important on Team USA. Sertan, right?
Yeah,
in
Sertan, the second. Yep.
Yeah,
His dad played.
I don't remember if his dad was as good.
No.
So I'm sort of conflating that with I think there's Asante Samuel who's really good for and then his son's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like somehow making Asante Samuel Sr. and Patrick Sertan Jr. mixing those two things up. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it does.
I see where you're going with that. Yeah, no, Anton Winfield, same thing.
That's a good one.
Antoine Winfield Jr. Because his dad was a baller.
Oh, yeah.
That dude
was
was
a Vikings guy.
menace.
I mean, he was probably generously listed at 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah.
And he played so much bigger than what his height was. And his son, the thing about those guys, and this isn't I don't know if this is something that can actually be passed down. Their football instinct was just incredible.
Oh, I think that is just in their DNA, right? It has to be to a certain degree that they just know how to read plays or they just know how to react, whatever it may be. They just have it. You just got it, right? You're born with it type of thing. A couple other guys, Joe Alt, who is going to be really good offensive lineman for the Chargers. Yeah. His dad was John Alt, who's a Pro Bowl tackle. He was pretty solid as well.
I wouldn't have gotten that one. This is good research by you.
Frank Gore Jr. I totally forgot as well, but obviously within the region. So, because Frank Gore that dude was good.
I'm surprised that we didn't get a situation where Frank Gore Sr. was still playing to be able to be in the same backfield with Frank Gore Jr.
Yeah, no kidding.
That. I'm a little disappointed in Frank Gore for retiring so soon, 20-plus years into an NFL career as a running back or whatever it was. I know it wasn't 20, but it felt like it was 20.
He was there for a long time.
And the thing that's crazy is we always make jokes about it, but that guy was productive even at
Of course he
the very end.
was.
Yeah.
Like you weren't going to necessarily get long hitting runs, but you were definitely going to get the grinded out 3.5 to 5 yards a carry, which, depending on the type of trench warfare you're playing, can be really valuable.
And then he was a brute that could block as well.
Yep.
That was
Yep.
back in the day when running backs could block.
No doubt about it.
Things
No
have
doubt about
changed.
it. So, all right, this is a special edition of Middays with Matt, Mike Schaefer with Tyler Cavalli here. We are your lead up for today's game between North Carolina, West Virginia. That'll be at 1 with coverage beginning on Westwood 1 at 12:40. John Bishop, Connor Happer, Josh Peterson will all be involved with that. We just saw Happer and Peterson earlier. They're heading over to the stadium, getting ready there. We are getting you ready here on the radio right now here at the Omaha Baseball Village. So come by the Zone Booth inside the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream of 1620 The Zone, celebrating 40 years with over 3,000 flavors. You can find it in Benton or the Old Market in Omaha. And, of course, Hour One presented by Union Bank and Trust. At UBT, people don't have your money. Your money has people. Member FDIC. We will be back to finish up the first hour here inside the Omaha Baseball Village. Hey, welcome back here to a special edition of Middays with Matt, Mike Schaefer, Tyler Cavalli here inside the Omaha Baseball Village. Come by the Zone Booth inside this Omaha Baseball Village that I just told you about for some free hash hole vouchers from Early Bird. Early Bird brunch, not your everyday brunch, every day. And, of course, today's special edition, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours and by Children, Nebraska. All right, Nebraska football has continued to pick up recruits right and left here throughout the offseason. And I noticed yesterday, Tyler, that they added another one in 4-star Jalen Hill, who comes from St. John's Bosco, or Power, out there in California. And it is another addition to what seems like a pretty strong secondary for Nebraska football for the future. Jalen Hill, a 4-star on 24/7 Sports and in the 24/7 Sports composite. He's only a 3-star on 24/7 Sports, so he was a 4-star at one point in time. So Jalen Hill is 6'1.5", 160 pounds, a guy that Nebraska had really sort of been targeting for a while. Got him in for an official visit, and he committed over the weekend. My question for you, Tyler, is when you, and I don't know how much recruiting you follow, certainly with Nebraska, and it's an acquired taste for everyone.
Yeah.
But just in general, when you're kind of putting things together, Nebraska has in their class right now, let me count it up. They have Torrey Pittman. They have Corey Hadley. Those are 2 4-star safeties. They have Bryce Williams. That's a 4-star corner. They have Jalen Hill, a 3-star corner. So they have 4 guys in their class already that basically makes up their secondary. I don't think they're really searching for much else besides a guy, Bam Whitfield, who's going to make a decision in July. This is a pretty nice secondary haul. If you're kind of putting things together, I mean, in today's football, and especially in college football, you got to have a pretty strong secondary. So Nebraska really putting a lot of their investment, and I assume some NIL dollars into this.
Well, here's the thing. Over the last several years, we've seen the secondary as its weaknesses be part of the issues of Nebraska failing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is big. The thing that I have with recruiting, you were mentioning following it, is it's so tough anymore because kids recruit or kids commit, and then tomorrow they'll decommit and they'll go somewhere else. So for me, it's always been this way, but even for now, until they're on that field, it's so tough to be like, oh, so pumped up, right? Because all these 4-star guys, it seems like it's going to work out. It's just, it's tough with recruiting anymore because of the world we live in. And I get it. You know, the kid's going to move around, and that's part of it. It's just the world that now college football is in. It's just frustrating, I guess, as a per se fan or someone who's trying to follow, like, who's staying? Who's not here? Who's transferring? Who's committing? Oh, they decommitted. Oh, they got more money over here type of thing, you know? That's my little rant, by the way, on the whole recruiting aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
But back to your initial question of in terms of the secondary, obviously huge, right? And here's the other thing. I don't think you can have too many in the secondary.
That's a great point.
We've noticed that over the years because of obviously injuries, but you have a lot of guys that can sling the ball anymore. And you need to have multiple guys that can sub in, whether it's a corner, your safety positions. You need to have a multitude of them. So it's nice that we have what is so far nice 3-4-star recruits here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think the thing, and you sort of hinted on it, and what stands out to me is when you go get these guys and you know that, like, they meet a certain athletic threshold, they come in with different frames and sizes. Some of it is somebody like this, like a Jalen Hill is already 6'1.5". Like, if he grows another inch and you have this 6'2.5" frame, like, you can grow him into potentially being a safety, or he could even come down and be kind of a defensive back, linebacker hybrid that you see in college football a lot. And so if you're going to recruit at a position like this, and you go get these good athletes with frames that kind of can develop, it gives you the opportunity to end up with players at different positions while also increasing the athleticism. I mean, how often do you hear coaches talk about wanting speed at every position? Well, if you go get a defensive back, chances are he's going to be faster than a linebacker. And if he grows into that someday, and he comes with coverage skills that, you know, most linebackers traditionally, especially in high school, I think linebackers really hard to recruit, because you got to be able to do all these different things. And usually the athletic profile of a high school linebacker is not someone that's both going to be good in coverage or, chances are they are playing forward, so they're never having to go backwards in coverage, so they don't get used to that. They're a pass rush specialist, or they're just like one of the bigger, slightly more athletic guys on the team, but not good enough to be a college athlete. So it gives you more outs that way when you recruit at that.
Well, and I think to your linebacker position, breaking that down, it is interesting because you have to be – that is more of a hybrid position than I think it ever was, Greg. Before, for all the reasons that you just mentioned, you do have to be able to play a little bit of safety / corner, but also you're chasing around your third, fourth receiver of the opposing team. So you have to have that speed, but you also have to be big enough to get through the line as well on any blitz packages. A lot of mobility with that. But the corners, certain degree, have to be hybrids as well, because obviously not just your corners, your safeties, but they have to be able to make those plays in the middle of the field and or come down to the line, right? And be able to, on your blitz packages as well, or corner blitz, whatever it may be, able to not only be fast enough, but make the tackles. And like Jalen Hill, as you mentioned, 6'1", 175, he's going to add some more weight, right? He's going to get in that program. He's going to add more weight, and that'll just even make him more of a threat if everything goes well at that point.
No doubt about it. All right. We are wrapping up hour one here on the special edition of Middays with Matt here inside the Omaha Baseball Village at the Zone booth. Stop by. We've got plenty of granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. If you'd like a granola bar, you can grab one of those. Find Josh Hodson. Get yourself some coupons for Ted and Wally's or for hash holes. And, just stop by and say hi. We love seeing people. We love the energy. It's starting to pick up down here inside the Omaha Baseball Village. Hour one, of course, presented by Union Bank and Trust. At UBT, people don't have your money. Your money has people. Member FDIC. 1620 The Zone hydration sponsor. Nothing says happy birthday, America, like an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Grab yourself a Coca-Cola this summer and drink in America's 250th birthday. We will be back here inside the Omaha Baseball Village. Mike Schaefer, Tyler Cavalli, we're going to get you to the North Carolina-West Virginia game. Lead up to that starts at 12:40 with Westwood 1. Of course, we will get you to 12:40. We'll be back. We're going to talk a little more Nebraska football, some baseball. On the other side of things, we're going to check in. We're about the 75-game mark, not quite halfway for the baseball season, but we're going to see kind of where the standings shake out, who's surprising us, all of those things and more here on a special edition of Middays with Matt. Hey, welcome back in here to the Omaha Baseball Village. The zone booth is manned right now by Josh Hodgson, who's always on the controls, helping make sure we stay on the air and generally keeping us in line. Myself, Mike Schaefer, and joined with Tyler Cavalli today, who is making his debut on 1620 The Zone.
That's right.
And it has been a very good one so far through the first hour. We'll see if he can keep it going through the next few and the show in between today. Today's special edition of Middays with Matt is powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. 1620 The Zone, powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. Well, Tyler and I are going to discuss what Nebraska football needs to do next, which is really what Nebraska football has needed to do for much of the last decade and a half, and that is stack some wins and do one, followed by another, and then specifically maybe find some wins in the month of November. Tyler, I'm just kind of like, one of the questions I've asked Brian, one of the questions I asked Matt, and now I'm going to ask you. Where are you at with this Nebraska football program? And you know, it's one that has such a proud history, but in recent years, it has really been a slog. I mean, even the good years, or good relative to the bad ones that had preceded it, have included, you know, some kind of tough 7-6 seasons where you tell yourself, hey, they got to a bowl game. Hey, it went better. But ultimately, it just doesn't feel like Nebraska's churned out or had the results that you would expect.
Well, look, I think the biggest part is it's frustrating. And it's frustrating in the fact where you're watching other programs in such a small window turn their program around. There is no world that Indiana football should be better than Nebraska football with all the things that are surrounding Nebraska, right? It just, there's no world. And I think when you look at other programs that have struggled in the past and turning things around quickly, and you're seeing progress with Nebraska the last 2 years, right? It's a little progress, but it is progress, I suppose, better than winning only 3 or 4 games. So I think then at that point, it's then frustrating of saying, well, you're spending the money, you have the great facilities, you think you got the right coaching staff. Why is it taking so long? And I think part of it is, well, you have to learn how to win again. And that was obviously the big issue, especially losing a lot of those one-score games. Finally, Nebraska did some of that the last year. That helped them propel to where they were at last season, even the year before that. So now it's how do you take it to that next level?
Right.
And I don't know if that'll happen this next year.
Right.
Yeah, there's a brutal schedule for Nebraska. I know the first couple of games, you know, whatever. But, man, the middle.
You're not worried about Ohio and Bowling Green over there?
Maybe we should be, right? I don't
think you need to be.
I don't think so. But
I don't – and this isn't to be that flippant, but I don't think Nebraska is going to lose any of those first 3 games. It's not to say that they don't have value. It's not to say that they can't put together the strong season built off of, you know, finding what it is that works in those games and then using it when you get into Big Ten play. I just don't think there's a way that they lose to any of those 3.
Well, they shouldn't, right? They shouldn't. You are scheduling these games, as you have in the past, to build up momentum, to get you feel better about things, right? To get into the meat portion of your schedule with victories underneath you, right? I mean, you're paying some of these schools to come play.
Sure.
Type of deal.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your bye games.
No, you can't. Yeah, right. Yeah, but you
definitely don't want to lose your bye games.
You can't do that. And I think part of the thing that's a little frustrating too is, you know, you've had the staff here for a while and you've had some pretty good players that have come through, and it's not happening as quick as you want it to. And I think part of the thing too is when you hear and see some of the coaches like Coach Rule, who is very open and is out there. This is probably the quietest offseason, I think, so far that Rule has been. But in the past with the things that he's done off the field, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I just think that if the results aren't W's, that's what Nebraska is paying you to do, right? And those other things are fun. Those other things are great. But in this world now with all these things going on, it just makes me think of like what he was doing before. And again, he's got a quiet off season, but like Les Miles on LSU, he did a lot of the same stuff and it just didn't work out. I mean, right. 6, 7, 8 wins here or there, but not to the level that LSU football should have been when they brought him in. Think of all these teams that are now playing well. Their coaches aren't doing any of that stuff, right? They're focused on what is supposed to happen. And again, that's not everybody. I understand that. But when you're not seeing the results, and we've been told, oh, this is going to happen year 3,
right?
Year 4 now. Well, I guess we'll see whatever it is. To a certain degree, it's a little bit disappointing. Now, can they turn it around this year? There's so many new pieces. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it for me is I struggle so much with this upcoming season because I think they're going to be a world where they're the best version of the last 3 years, but the record isn't necessarily going to reflect that because, as you mentioned, the schedule is difficult, and you know right off the bat you have 3 top 10 teams, and very likely those 3 top 10 teams are going to be top 10 teams almost all year.
Yeah.
You know, if you're looking for the weak link out of that, it's probably Indiana, which is the one that Nebraska gets at home and they get early in the season and maybe seems the most gettable. But, oh, by the way, they haven't lost a football game in over a calendar year. They have the most psychotic, locked-in coach in the country who can't wait to be in Lincoln, Nebraska, scowling because that's what he does. And I don't say that with any disdain. I have
Just
a lot
who
of
he is.
appreciation.
He would tell you the same thing.
Right.
here.
You would actually, I think, appreciate how I described him there. And so, you know, like that's the most gettable of those 3. In addition to, you have teams like Illinois that you haven't beaten very often lately. You have a team in Washington that has top 25 ability. You have Iowa at the end of the schedule where the best result you've had against Iowa was a win in a year in which Mickey Joseph was the interim coach. And, you know, more often than not, you've watched as their kicker is blowing kisses to your sidelines while they kick another go-ahead field goal as time has expired.
Yep.
Now, this past year, they kicked you right in the rear end and kicked you right out of your own stadium. But these are the teams, you know, in addition to the top 3 teams, and, you know, they've got a tough schedule. They have a ton of returning production.
Yeah.
They have a veteran offensive line. Know how quickly Jeep Wade can put that all together. There's all these things that I like, that I am willing to acknowledge that even if they go 8-5 or 7-5 or whatever it is, 7-5 in the regular season, we'll see what the bowl game is and how they do there. It doesn't have to be the same old 7-win season. Like, you can tell that maybe they end up getting better, but you still need to see them beat a Washington or an Illinois or Iowa. Like, you got to see that next level of progress. It can't always just be you picked off Rutgers, Michigan State, and Maryland, and you won your 3 games against the tomato cans that you set up your season with, and you have your 6 wins that way, and you go maybe get a bowl game win and you're 7. Like, that's going to do nothing for anybody. They have to show up, whether and you know, don't just stop at 1. Feel free to win multiple of those games. And so I think so much of how we're going to feel, even if they haven't, you know, a 4 or 5 loss season, is going to be, well, how did you compete in those biggest games? Were you in them, or were you just immediately, you know, removed from the competition? And did you take advantage of some opportunities? Like, I think Washington at home on Halloween is a great opportunity for Nebraska to get a top 25 win under Matt Rule if they're ranked at that time. And if they're not ranked at that time, you sure as hell should beat them, even if they are ranked. Like, I don't think Washington is exponentially better than Nebraska.
Absolutely not.
They've done a better job of winning football games and doing things that is winning football.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's where this is at for me.
But a couple of points, like you brought up Washington. Look where they were a couple of years ago, right? Obviously a great coach, great quarterback. They played for a national championship. There's no reason Nebraska can't be on that level, right? So that's kind of the frustrating part of it. You're, again, like I said before, you're seeing all these other programs that traditionally not great football powerhouses. Why can't Nebraska get there? And I think that's part of the thing. Here's something interesting too, and I know a lot of this is because of the success Nebraska baseball, softball, and other programs have had for the Huskers during the spring, men's basketball as well. I can't think of a time that Husker football still hasn't been in the realm of Husker athletics, no matter the success of anything else, maybe ever, right? I mean, Nebraska football is still always talked about, brought up type of thing, and everybody's like, we're looking forward to this year. Think about last year, how everybody was so psyched and pumped to go into year 3 because you're going off of the past stops that Rule
the history
had.
of Matt Rule.
Exactly. So everybody's like, oh, and to be fair, also the schedule was pretty favorable for Nebraska, especially early on. But the how pumped everybody was to get in there. And there was just such a letdown. And so many games where it's like, dang.
Well, like, this is such the inflection point for me of last year's season. You're up against USC, a top 25 team at home. Your defense is playing the best game it's played all season. Yeah. Your offense is doing just enough with a lead. And then Dylan Raiola gets hurt and everything goes the way that it does. And instead of winning that game, you lose yet another top 25 game at home. And then you go beat UCLA, which is the equivalent of beating Rutgers this year. And then you don't win another game after that. You get blown out in every game that follows. And it's just like you had the chance to reach up and make it third-year Matt Rule. You're staring at it right in the face, and they went the other way. And so now, we'll see what this season brings. This is putting you on the spot, and it's a leading question, both things that are great when you're doing radio. What are you most confident in when it relates to Nebraska football? Is there anything, is there something that you can just look at and you're like, well, it's this, it's that, it's one of these things?
I don't know, honestly.
Most confident that fans will largely show up for home games?
Well, that's no matter what, right? I obviously we've had so many years of the trials and tribulations of Nebraska football, and they still showed up. So I guess, that's the most confident thing that you can see at this point or have going into the season. I don't know. And I think it's a bad thing, too, to think about I'm just this confident that a running game is going to be great, or a quarterback, or the lines. I mean, the lines have been getting better, but I feel like it needs to be better, right? Especially in the Big Ten. It always, once we get in the meat of that schedule, the back half of the schedule, the lines, they really kind of fall apart a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, is the kicking game be good? I don't know. I don't know if there's a spot where I'm just like, no, we'll be fine here.
I think that's completely fair, and it speaks to just sort of the change in the.
Is there one for you?
No, not necessarily. There's things that I think the receivers are going to be fine, but they're going to be capped as to how good they are if the quarterback isn't that good. I think that the offensive line under Jeep Wade has a chance to be pretty good. But I don't know that implicitly because I've never seen 3/5 of who their starting offensive line is lined up, together at Nebraska.
Yep.
And so a lot of this offseason is sort of acknowledging hey, they're taking some big swings here. They have a different defensive coordinator and a different defensive system. They went out and they got Jeep Wade and Lonnie Teasley and overhauled their offensive line. They don't have a returning running back with any production. So you're just kind of like, all right, is Mekhi Nelson, Jamal Rule, and Isaiah Mosey, is that enough to replace Emmett Johnson in the aggregate? Is Anthony Calandria going to be UNL version of Anthony Calandria, or are we going to get Virginia version of Anthony Calandria? So in some ways, I like the fact that there's no certainty with anything because it means that
your expectations are quite as
you
high.
Go into it okay, let's see.
Yep.
And people have the opportunity to surprise you. And we saw this with Nebraska basketball and to maybe a little bit lesser extent Nebraska baseball. Those years where you're not certain on what it looks like and then it all comes together, those can be some of the funnest years of which you cover a program or follow a program.
Where you're like, we'll win probably 3-4 games, right? But then you're like, we got that one, and then this one, right? The one thing I do appreciate that finally happened is Matt Rule. I know it wasn't easy, but it got rid of some of his coordinators. Had to make some changes. Some of them were his friends.
I give him credit. He's willing. When he says he will do whatever he has to do to win at Nebraska,
he's doing it.
He has moved on from people that
his friends, best friends.
He has acknowledged failure in that part. You're absolutely right, and that's something that gives me, not in terms of the upcoming season. It makes me feel better about all of this in the long run because I can tell that it matters to him. He's not just out there. No, this is my guy. It's going to work with him. He's willing to adapt. He's willing to change. He's willing to meet halfway. And we'll see if Rob Arch and Jeep Wade and all of those guys can help bring success.
Putting you on the spot here, how long is his leash now?
I think it's still at least another season or two. I mean, there is no world in which I think he's gone after this year unless he chooses to leave on his own volition. And I think the way they are setting this program up, 2027 is sort of their we are going to be, and now everybody gets to be a college football playoff team, so it doesn't mean as much.
Kidding.
But 2027 is this is a year we got to go win 10 games and be a top 25, top 15 program.
But what if they only win 4 games this year?
What is that?
What if they only win 4 games this year?
That would put a lot of damper in that.
Because
I just don't think they'll move on from him.
Well, here's the
I think financially they're committed to it. And I think that one of the things we saw with all the success of Fred Hoiberg, Nebraska basketball, and even Will Bolt and some of these other programs, if you think you've got the guy at coach, you're willing to be patient with it, they also have to make changes. Matt Rule has made some changes. Yeah. I think you need more than 1 year of Rob Arch and Jeep Wade and Lonnie Teasley to see where that can go. And so, that was a mistake that Steve Peterson made when they moved on from Frank Solich, because they had switched to Bo Pelini as defensive coordinator, and you had Barney Cotton. And so you didn't give that staff more than a year. Now that team won 9 games, and they still moved on from the coach. So, I'd be fascinated. Like, I certainly don't want to see a 4-win season for Nebraska.
Of course not.
But from the what happens next, I would be curious, certainly, about that.
Well, and part of the problem, and it goes back to what we were talking last hour, especially about the recruiting aspect. If you have a 4 or 5 win season, I don't think that's going to happen either. But let's just say it does, right? Devil's advocate type of thing. The problem in the world we live in now is, yes, you could be building up to that 2027 season. That's all great and fine. But if you go out and you stink this year, those kids are just going to leave and go somewhere else to get paid because they're all about winning right now, right? So it's not about, I think, the old days of like, yeah, let's build this up. And in a couple of years, these young kids, they'll get their time. I'm not saying everybody's going to leave and abandon ship by any means. You see it so often, the amount of kids that go into the transfer portal, especially if things aren't going right, because they can't. And there are other opportunities. Some of those guys will stay. I'm not saying there's going to be a mass exodus. It's just, it's hard almost if you don't continue to have some sort of progress. If you take a step back, then everybody just decides because they can to go somewhere else.
Yep. All right. Well, that was good. There's a good conversation on Nebraska football with Tyler Cavalli here, Mike Schaefer as well, doing the special edition of Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Hour 2 presented by Nebraska Medicine, Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. And save the date for Friday Night Live at the Bat. Friday, June 19th, Pet Rock plays live at OBV for the first time. Grab your friends. Get ready for a party. This is an all-ages show, so bring the kids. See you next Friday at the Mat. We'll be back here on a special edition of Middays with Matt inside the Omaha Baseball Village, getting you prepared for the games today. Hey, welcome back into the Omaha Baseball Village. Mike Schaefer here, Tyler Cavalli sitting in with me as we have a special edition of Middays with Matt, which of course is powered by Access Bank. Here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. Come by the Zone Boop inside Omaha Baseball Village for some chewy granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. Sunbelt Bakery chewy granola bars, tastiest flavors under the sun. Here's how much we believe in Sunbelt Bakery and these granola bars. We brought in Dustin here to talk to us about Sunbelt Bakery and its products. Dustin, what can you kind of tell us about just the bakery, about the Sunbelt Bakery? I have been eating these granola bars for 30 years of my life. I swear to you, like the fudge dipped Sunbelt granola bar is like a staple of, I would come home from school. It would be in the cabinet. I would open it up. I would pass on some other snacks, and I would go right to that.
It's glorious. I mean, I love them too. I grew up not knowing they're a McKee brand, which is affiliated with Little Debbie Snacks.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know that, but we are also incorporated with the snack brand, but we have a granola brand as well. It started in 1982 by the McKee family and McKee Foods Corporation with that, and it's just blossomed here in the Midwest. This area, the Omaha, Midwest, Nebraska, Iowa, is the #1 region for Sunbelt Bakery granola bars.
Yeah. So what are the line of Sunbelt products? So I've had my wife loves the chocolate chip granola bars, and I mentioned the fudge dip. I had one of the oats and honey sitting here the other day. I was telling you, I kind of like that the sun sat on it a little bit, gave it a little warmth. Like it's maybe a little better that way. I don't know. Maybe they should put on there on the label, serve warm, and really let people know, like there's a sneaky way to have a granola bar. Let it heat up a little bit. You don't want to do that with the fudge dip.
No.
But what other products do you have at Sunbelt?
So Sunbelt, we do have the ones here displayed is value packs, which is a 15 count, and it's kind of get your best value here. And then you just have the family pack, which either has 8 or 10 bars in there. We also have some soft baked bars, which is like your cereal ones that are stuffed a little softer when you're eating it. Then we also have some seasonal ones. So right now there's a peaches and cream and a coconut and cream variety. So each season there's a spring, there's a summer, there's a fall, and then there's a winter one as well. So each season you'll have a different variety of ones available as well.
You have been around these products. What's your favorite? What's your go-to? What are you trying to get your kids hooked on? I know you got a few.
Oatmeal raisins, mine.
That's where I was going.
It's really good.
It's got the sweet, and then if you like raisins, it's perfect. It's like the oat and honey one here, but it's got the raisins addition into it.
I gotta try this.
It is good, and I'm a big fan of that one. I mean, you can't go wrong with the peanut butter chocolate chip.
Yep.
I mean, can't go wrong with that one as well.
Here's what I love about these granola bars. They're soft. We were talking about this earlier.
Yes.
You get those other granola bars that want to compete, and you bite into it, and it's like too much crunch. My teeth are having to work too damn hard. Whereas when you have the Sunbelt ones, they're nice. They're you bite into them. It especially when they're heated up a little bit by the sun over here. But I'm not kidding. Like I think the softness of it is like a real feature of the Sunbelt Bakery.
And I would agree with that too. When chewing it, you don't feel like you have the flaky-ish, like you need to drink a water right away. It just kind of goes down smooth. And they're
fight for your life.
It's not a dehydrating granola bar. It's a great way to put it.
Yeah, you can just eat it like it's on the go. I have my two daughters that will eat the chocolate chip ones just straight out of the box and go. My son can't have dairy, so it's a little different story for him. However, but the girls just love the granola bar, chocolate chips especially. So.
No doubt about it. Where can people get the great Sunbelt products? Besides, obviously, right down here, you come down to the Omaha Baseball Village. We have the oats and honey for you to try right now.
You can find it at any of your major retailer stores. So your major box grocery stores, you can find it at those stores. We also have convenience ones, little snack ones that you'll find at your convenience stores in the local area as well. So,
yep. You've been dropping by, making sure that we were covered with the granola bars, making sure we are getting them out to people as they stop by and pick those up. You're a baseball guy. I know you got a young one that plays a lot of baseball. I know you're involved with the coaching, I want to say, too. And I'm pretty sure you've tried to sneak in some CWS for yourself. How's it been so far this week?
It's been fun. We got the ability to go yesterday, and we got some sun. My legs are a little fried on the top of the knees. But it's been a good year. Like you said, my son, he's been fun. He's a catcher. He plays up the middle, so he just loves the game. He needs a haircut. There's a photo shows up on my phone right now. He needs a haircut. He's got a mop.
And I'll say this because I'm in the same situation. If I take my hat off, is that just jealousy on our end when we see long locks flowing from baseball players?
I can't deny it because I had long hair. So I had the wings, the flowy stuff with a hat on when I was young and I played in high school. So I can't get too mad at him for it. It just looks so sloppy when he wakes up and it's sticking and he doesn't even want to comb it. He's just like, it's fine, Dad. I'm like, whatever you want to do, bud. No, with the baseball, I wish there would have been a lot more. One side, I guess, has been too many blowouts, if you would say.
Yep.
And the other side's been closer games, but like we talked earlier, nothing's been too dramatic.
Yeah.
Like
I'm hoping we get that today. Like maybe, a walk-off means that one of those teams has punched their ticket into the championship round. But I would love to see some drama today, maybe a late inning situation or extras. Maybe we can get into extra innings or something like that here.
Last year I was down here for the no-hitter. So, I mean, that was exciting as heck. So I was down here working. Yeah, I mean, you ain't going to top that. There's shirts around here now that are describing that. There was a question, when was the last no-hitter when we were at the game, one of those QR things. And I was like, oh, I was here. Yeah. Okay. So, that was kind of cool like that. So I got to flip the script a little bit from, I know you're a big basketball fan. So how about that Husker season?
I mean, that was, for me, pretty much a dream season. So
Yes.
The ending, not so much. But, that's the way that it goes. Like, very few people get to have the ending that you absolutely desire. The chances of Nebraska winning a national title last year were not all that high. Would have loved to have seen it at least one more game, see what it would look like in the Elite Eight, especially because I was down there against Illinois. I would have loved one more crack at Illinois. That's the part of it that not only just a loss to Iowa, it's that those two, and I'm pretty sure you're at this game. I know you have season tickets. Those two played in Pinnacle Bank Arena an excellent game of basketball earlier this year. I thought that's when we saw Illinois at their absolute apex. Like, that's when they looked like the scariest team in the country in the second half after Nebraska had what might have been, I know they didn't win, and they had a lot of these sort of moments. They had like a 4-minute stretch where it was otherworldly. Like Sanford was on fire and they were scoring at the end of the first half and the defense was translating to offense. And it's like, here we go. This team lost to Michigan earlier this week, but they're about to beat Illinois in their own building. This is a top 5 team in the country. Like, it felt amazing. And then Illinois came out and absolutely played phenomenal second half of basketball.
Yeah. And I revert to the first time we played Illinois at their house. We were, Bentley was playing in a basketball tournament in Kearney. So we were down there visiting, and they're all at the pool, and a bunch of the dads are all watching on our iPads or computers. And I'm superstitious, so I stayed in the same exact spot throughout the whole game. And when the shot went up, I grabbed my iPad and I sprinted down the hotel like a hooligan, just running around, excited, and went and found their other parents. And oh man, it's one of the best moments I've felt in a long time.
Why, like, when a major thing happens at the end of the game, and I've done this, whether it's Landon Donovan against Algeria or whatever, I have this urge to like get up and run around.
Yes.
It's like my body can't sit in a spot. It's like it has to get all of that energy out. Like the Minneapolis Miracle, I'm like running around, grabbing my dog, throwing him in the air. Things like that. Like you have those moments and you just have that urge to run. I don't know what it is.
The experience of the Troy, I had to go downstairs, me in the basement by myself, beating them for that tournament game. And my son came down there, and I don't think I've been that emotional ever for a basketball game. Yeah. It was just the best feeling in my world.
All right. Well, hey, Dustin, we appreciate you stopping by on behalf of Sunbelt Bakery. We appreciate Sunbelt Bakery being involved with us down here, and we think everyone should stop by, pick themselves up a granola bar, and enjoy some excellent, tasty Sunbelt Bakery granola bars here.
Thanks,
Hour 2, presented by Nebraska Medicine. Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. Come by the Zone Boop inside the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream of 1620 The Zone, celebrating 40 years of over 3,000 flavors. Locations in Benton, the Old Market, Omaha. Special edition of Middays of Matt, Mike Schaefer, Tyler Cavalli. We will be back. We're going to talk a little Bo Nix, I think, when we return. There's people on this station that don't believe in Bo Nix. I don't know how I feel about Bo Nix. Tyler's a Denver fan, so I want to know how he's feeling about Bo Nix. But the Broncos have an interesting year ahead. So we're going to talk a little Denver Broncos football when we return here on 1620 The Zone. Hey, welcome back into a special edition of Middays with Matt. I'm Mike Schaefer, joined by Tyler Cavalli here at the Omaha Baseball Village. These shows powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. The 1620 The Zone hydration sponsor, Coca-Cola. Nothing says happy birthday, America, like an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Look at that beautiful timing. That's not even planned. I just read what's handed to me, and I had just grabbed one of these ice-cold Coca-Colas myself this summer. Pick one up. Celebrate America's 250th birthday. I mentioned we were going to be talking about Bo Nix. We're going to table that for a little bit because we have a special guest here with Anchor Bat Matthew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a total like, oh no. And I remember everyone here basically is named Matt for the most part.
Yep,
and so,
all good.
All right. So you're with Anchor Bat. You were telling me a little bit before we came on here. You've been in business since 2013.
Yep.
You finally got the coveted spot that you wanted here at the Omaha Baseball Village. First year, how's it been so far?
It's been unbelievable. You know, fellows are tired that we have up here, but we're getting after it and meeting a lot of people and pushing a lot of product. And we've been in an exciting spot. We've had, I would say, 80%, maybe more of all the players and coaches that have been by multiple times a day over the duration of the CWS, and it's going great.
Yeah. So, I mean, you hadn't been here as a company before. Had you been to the College World Series? Have you kind of scouted this out, or were you just sort of like,
first time?
We know we want to get here. We know we want to be involved with this. We know we need a good location.
Yep.
Which you're just right over by us here, the Omaha Baseball Village. You told me you're kind of right over by Chick-fil-A, which let me
good
tell
spot.
you, that's
Good
a
spot.
heavy traffic location.
No.
You've seen it. Good spot for you to be. So what have you kind of learned so far?
Well, we've learned that there are early mornings and long nights. We've learned that people are gravitating toward our apparel, which we semi-planned for, but yeah, it's super exciting, and the energy here is actually more than I anticipated it to be, and the organization is just unbelievable. So we're stoked.
Yeah. So what's the history of Anchor Bat?
Yeah.
Started
So
in 2013. How did you kind of get involved in sort of a niche? It doesn't seem niche when you're here and there's all these other companies and everything around baseball, but you set out and Anchor Bat came to exist in 2013. What's the history there?
Yeah, it definitely is. I worked for a couple startups that I had a non-equitable role in, and at one I was the first hire, another one I was one of the top three that came on board, and I really got that entrepreneurship bug. Did it for about, I played. I worked for a company that John Smoltz and a couple other big leaguers were a part of, and been around the game for a really long time. And my dad is a craftsman. And just through a series of events and meeting with mentors and everything like that, we said, hey, let's give it a go. We want our differentiator to be brand centric. Everybody has a good, everybody's going to portray, we have a good quality. We have a good story. We do this, we do that, we do whatever. And there's a lot of really good companies out there. Like we tell people all the time, hey, this company, that company, they make a good product. For us, it's a little bit more about the brand element and what we're trying to create. Super exciting.
You talked about the apparel side of things. What do you guys offer?
Yeah, so, the last probably this will be our 5th year of supplying player kits for the All-Star game for Major League Baseball. So we go in and, do a kit. We might team up with Yeti or Stanley. We've done multiple partnerships over the last few years. This year we did the WBC, so we had guys. I mean, we were honestly blown away. We had, from Mason Miller to Bobby Witt to Gunnar Henderson to Bryce Harper. But virtually every game in and out of the clubhouse, they were wearing our product.
Wow, that's gonna be fun for you.
Yeah, it's exciting. We were there. We were at the event. Yeah,
so with that, and you see the game's biggest stars wearing this.
And in 13 years, it's been that big. It's grown that big already.
Yeah, and we've been in the part that people don't necessarily get to see, and we don't open the curtain completely because some people view it as they're not legit. But we've been in a 2-car garage since 2013 until this past year. So Dale Murphy, former Brave great, a couple other guys came in, partnered with us. We've got a 10,000 square foot space now in Greenville, South Carolina, and we manufacture there, have a storefront there. It's got a good vibe. Players, agents, from young kids to retirees come in and just have a good time while they're there. And it's cool. You know, we're building a community of people that love the game, love like the brand element that comes along with it, and we're just kind of rocking and rolling with it.
What can people find here then while they're at the College World Series?
Yeah, so right now it has been crazy hot. We've had camo, and we have had a massive wave. We sold out 3 times already on a camo push, and a lot of the players, their families, their girlfriends, just the community in general. We've been blown away by how many local Omaha and just over the border in Iowa and is in Lincoln, et cetera, have been here. And we did not anticipate the local support to be what it has.
That's
and
good.
We've been very, very impressed with it.
Yeah. So you've got this company that you've kind of helped put together. You're here in Omaha for the first time. What's the goal? What's next for Anchor Bat?
Just telling our story, letting people know who we are, and just saying, hey, we're not for everyone. If we were for everyone, we're kind of for no one. That's the mentality that we have. And we've done some cool things in the past, even just a few months. We did Morgan Wallen, one of his tour events, and we supplied 20 bats and swag for he and his crew and his kid, and just Chris Stapleton, Jason Aldean. We've done some really interesting things that honestly I never would have anticipated. But we love it.
Yeah,
I've
asked several of the vendors here this that are in the baseball apparel or bats or both. Are you ever amazed at sort of the moment that baseball apparel seems to be having right now? Because I don't remember it being this popular to have baseball stuff on all the time. I remember the one of competitors or one of the other vendors here in baseballism, like when that first debuted, that was just like, oh, hey, there's a whole line of shirts that exist for me that are like baseball puns or baseball slang. Like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And now it's like everywhere, and it's in all sites of all shapes, sizes, colors, the most wild things imaginable.
Yeah.
It's just incredibly popular with the youth.
Yeah, I think that it's been a market that's just been undervalued for a really long time, and at this point it's just people are looking for something to gravitate toward and be a part of, whether it's the ice cream and the flair and the pop, or something a little bit more heritage driven and clean. I think there's something for everybody.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
No doubt about it. Well, Matthew, thank you for joining us here today with Anchor Bat. And you said people can find you over they find Chick-fil-A. They find that line at Chick-fil-A. You're going to be right there with your own line.
We're there.
All right.
We're there.
Well, we want people to check that out. If you're here in the Omaha Baseball Village, be sure to get over to Anchor Bat. Thanks for joining us here on Middays with Matt, even though you're the only one named Matt.
Yeah.
So it truly is.
Like it's kind of your show. Do you want to take over?
Well, I mean, it's sitting down feels pretty good.
You did mention that. You did mention that. You're welcome to sit in this chair. You don't even have to say anything if you don't want.
No, I appreciate it, fellas.
You can stay here. You can get off your feet, and you can have yourself a good time. 1620 The Zone, powered by the Sedoro Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. And hour 2 here of the special editions with Middays with Matt, presented by the Nebraska Medicine Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. I teased before that we were going to talk about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Now we're going to talk about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Not right now. When we come back here on a special edition of Middays with Matt. Welcome in here one final time in the 11 o'clock hour as we get you a little bit closer to today's action between West Virginia and North Carolina, which starts at 1, lead-up coverage. Westwood 1 begins 12:40. John Bishop, Connor Happer will be on the call. Josh Peterson on the field for today's game. This special edition of this special edition of Middays with Matt, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours and by Children's Nebraska. Come by the Zone booth. We've been talking about this all day. Inside Omaha Baseball Village for some free hash hole vouchers from Early Bird brunch, not your everyday brunch every day. All right, I have mentioned this. I want to get into this. I know Tyler is a Broncos guy. One, have you mentally recovered from just winning that Bills game but losing the war, so to speak, with the Bo Nix injury?
Well, look, I would have almost rather have not won that game because of what then occurred in that championship game, right? With the Patriots. And I think a lot of it, too, is because there were so many opportunities in that championship game against New England that the Broncos could have easily moved on. However, it is probably best that they didn't, right? Because we saw what Seattle did, and their defense would have just
no
ate
offense
up.
To the Broncos, or what might have happened there, even without Bo Nix. That Seattle team was going to beat anything put.
I agree. I think that they were firing in all cylinders. They had one of those great defensive runs at that point that I don't know. I think only the elite guys, quarterbacks, would have maybe had an opportunity. They just played so well.
I would have been fascinated to see that Bills team, with as kind of flawed as it was, if Josh Allen could have done enough against that Seahawks defense at the end was just ferocious. And that Broncos defense throughout the year was ferocious. The whole reason that Josh Allen didn't even have that opportunity is the way that they played in that game.
And also, in the championship game as well, the AFC championship game, the defense was still pretty good, right? I mean, now granted, there was a blizzard that showed up at the end of the game, the second half, but otherwise the defense played really, really well. It stinks the way that the whole thing ended up, obviously, with the Broncos season coming to an end that way, just because of how well Bo had been playing. He took such a massive step forward in such an early portion of his career. And to be frank, I don't think he even really had that great of receivers either. They're fine. Cortland Sutton's fine, but I don't think their receiving crew is all that great.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought he did pretty well with what he had. The running game stepped up. That obviously, as we all know, if you have a great running game that complements your quarterback, especially a young guy, then they can step up a lot quicker at that point. Line was fine. So that was tough to see. Look, when you have that major of an injury, you're always skeptical then of how are they going to recover going forward. And so for Bo, I don't know. I'm excited, but it's also I'm trying to temper my excitement.
Sure.
So.
Well, the hard thing is it's hard to repeat exactly what happened last year. It's hard to have everything break the way that it did.
Yes.
They had some miraculous comebacks, whether it was the Giants game or they had a few others where they just sort of skinned the cat, if you would, and avoided the loss when it seemed like it was destined to happen. But that doesn't happen if you don't have a team that's capable of playing great in crunch time. The thing about Bo Nix that's so fascinating to me is that you get both versions of him in the same game all the time. You get the version of him that looks like he could absolutely be an 18-year starter for the Broncos and probably not on the level of Elway, but the guy who's really, really good. And it's just a fixture of your organization when you see some of the passes that he's able to make and some of the plays that he could make down the stretch. And then you get where did he uncork that throw and why did it go there?
Yep.
And it's usually you get one for a half and then you get one for the other half, and you don't know if you're getting first half dominance or second half amazing, and then first half terrible. And so it's I don't understand it. What is that like for you, trying to piece this whole thing together throughout a 4-quarter game?
Well, I'll be honest. When we first drafted him, I would say we as playing with them. But when Denver,
you can we all day.
No, when Denver first drafted him last year, and I remember the first game was in Seattle, obviously, as they were building up there where they were a year later. Just thinking the first several games, dang, I don't know if this is the guy or not. Right? Understanding as a rookie, but just some of the throws and decisions. I don't know about this. And again, I was like, here we go again, because Denver making another quarterback draft decision obviously has not worked out very well as of late, especially when John Elway was drafting quarterbacks. You would think the guy that knows how to play quarterback the best would know who some of the better quarterbacks would be. Not so much.
Well, he's still waiting for Osweiler.
Yeah. Osweiler's still somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah,
I don't know, CFL,
I don't think he's still in the league.
UFL or something like that.
That seems more like
he probably is there. But no, even at the beginning of last year, he was somebody that was frustrating for the reasons that you had just talked about. And it's like, dang, is this really what we want right here? And I'll be honest, I was skeptical the first several weeks this past year, and then obviously it worked out well. Yeah. It's just, I think part of it is we've been burned by quarterbacks so much lately.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, hour 2 here with special edition of Middays with Matt, presented by Nebraska Medicine, Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. Come by the Zone Booth inside Omaha Baseball Village. Come up to us over here. Find Josh Hodgson. Get yourself registered to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's, the official ice cream of 1620 The Zone. Celebrating 40 years with over 3,000 flavors. Locations, Benson, the Old Market here in Omaha. Get yourself the opportunity for ice cream for a year with us here at 1620 The Zone. We are going to take a quick time out. When we come back, it will be an opportunity for us to catch up with Boys Town, see what the great work they have going on over there. And we'll get maybe a little baseball. We'll get it back into some baseball here as North Carolina, West Virginia set to start in just about an hour. So all of that and more here on Middays with Matt. Hey, welcome back in here. It is the 12 o'clock hour on a special edition with Middays with Matt. This is 1620 The Zone. I am Mike Schaefer, joined by Tyler Cavalli here today as we've got this special edition show going. And, of course, 1620 The Zone is powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. All right, we have a special guest with us here from Boys Town. Paul is joining us here to talk to us about Boys Town, a special place for me. It's where our son goes for his audiology needs and spend a lot of time at the Boys Town campus. Great people over there, just tremendous to work with.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. We are next door here to 1620 down in the Baseball Village. So if you're down here for the College World Series, definitely stop by our booth. We've got some Blaze Pod activities going. You can judge your reaction speed and see how you line up with the major leaguers to see if you could actually hit a very fastly thrown ball. So
I would be a no.
Yeah, I would also.
My
I would also be
baseball
a no.
career was very much defensive replacement in the late innings, and a guy who would come in to bunt if we needed a sacrifice situation,
Take a hit.
and taking care of the mound that I would pitch on every couple days. So
Right. Yeah, I was kind of the designated.
the
right
whole
fielder.
pitchers can't hit thing. I represented that in high school, where a lot of pitchers can hit. I just absolutely couldn't.
Well, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
more than okay. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned the audiology. Our National Research Hospital is in the middle of expanding right now, so
It's wild out there.
very exciting.
Every time I go, I
conference.
feel like there's a different kind of like, okay, I can pull in here now. This can't see it for, and what they're doing out there. It's going to be great when it's done.
Absolutely, yes, we're really excited about that. And myself, I've actually only been with Boys Town less than a year now, so something that really drastically changed for me is, it's you have a lot of, in your career you have different jobs, but to be a part of something so much bigger and, everyone's just so aligned with the mission, saving children, healing families, it just makes the work so gratifying. So it's a very special place. And, all the CWS fans in town, we really encourage you. Our campus is a short drive up Dodge Street. So please, we welcome all visitors. We have an awesome visitor center. We have the world's largest ball of stamps. Kids can check that out. But, we also have a cafe open to the public. We have a hall of history with just so much history, tons of baseball history too, right? If you stop by our booth here, we've got Father Flanagan, a picture of him with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. So, we're very baseball conscious as well. So it's awesome to be here and experience this.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you stopping by. Where is the Boys Town booth here in the Omaha Baseball Village?
We are in the Diamond Room. In Omaha, in the Baseball Village here. So you will find our booth here. We have a pretty big booth. Come grab some swag. Participate in the activity, the Blaze Pod activity, judge your reaction time. And yeah, like I said, if you're in town for the College World Series, please, come visit us. We have our campus is over off just west of 132nd and Dodge. So it's just a short drive up Dodge Street. We would love to have visitors. And like I mentioned, we have an awesome visitor center. You can take a tour of our Hall of History. And if you're not able to make it out, please visit us at boystown.org. We're a nonprofit, and like I said, the impact that we have on families across the entire nation, it's really been really meaningful for me. And we would encourage you to visit our website if you're not able to come visit us in person.
Yeah. How many days have you been out here so far, Paul?
This
Been
is
here
my first personal day out.
first day out here. All right.
This year, right? Yeah. So getting some flack from my kids so I'm sure we'll be back. But first things first, we'll take care of the Boys Town booth here.
Okay.
So
that
we're
makes
having
sense.
a blast. Yeah.
That makes sense. Keep them happy. Keep
Right.
the family happy. Hope you're enjoying it out here. Great atmosphere. And like Paul said, stop by the Boys Town booth. If you're down here in the Omaha Baseball Village, get yourself some swag. See if you can maybe just foul off a pitch.
Right.
Off of, just
Right.
spoil a good pitch.
We've
That's
got-
what they sometimes told me when they sent me up
Yeah.
there. And they're like, look, we know this is going to be an out. Don't swing at bad pitches if you can avoid it. But if you're going to swing, at least try to spoil something.
Right. Have
And
some
so,
sort of an impact. Right.
No, we've always got to start small and then try to build your way up. And
Right. Right.
for me and my baseball career, the batter's box,
Same.
that's largely what it was. But we appreciate you
Yep.
stopping by here today, Paul. And again, recommend everybody go see what's going on with the Boys Town booth here in the Omaha Baseball Village, or go visit Boys Town itself out there on
Come
top.
out to campus.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful campus. We have a whole square mile. So really, it puts things into perspective. We have a beautiful campus. Again, we always welcome tours at our Hall of History and Visitor Center. If you can't make it in person, definitely visit us at boystown.org. We appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Well, that was Paul with Boys Town here, and we are reminding you, save the date for Friday Night Live at the Mat, Friday, June 19th. Pet Rock plays live at OBV for the first time. Grab your friends. Get ready to party. This is an all-ages show. That means you can bring your kids, have a good time, get the family out there. We will see you next Friday at the Mat. Of course, the special editions of the Midday Show with Matt, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. We'll take a quick time out here. We're going to come back. We're going to dive into a little baseball. I mentioned earlier, we're about the midway point of the Major League Baseball season. We'll kind of see how things are shaping up, if it feels like another year for the Dodgers to just win a World Series and the rest of us are sitting around watching it, or if maybe Josh's Braves will have something to say about that. I don't know if it'll be my Guardians or Tyler's Rockies, where you mostly seem to be fodder to be ran over by everybody else. But what can you do with the baseball season? So we'll have that conversation when we return here on Middays with Matt, live from the Omaha Baseball Village. Welcome back into a special edition of Middays with Matt. Mike Schaefer here. Tyler Cavalli has been sitting in, getting indoctrinated into the 1620 The Zone world here in the Omaha Baseball Village. Of course, this show powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. All right, I mentioned we were going to dive into some baseball talk here. We're about midway through the season. I know as a Rockies fan, you're probably not expecting a playoff push here.
Unlikely
at this point in time, but I am curious, like as you look at the year, we know that the Dodgers have went out and they got Kyle Tucker and they just continue to add to their team and in all of these ways, and they're going to be the heavy favorite for Tarek Skubal and all of this. Do you think that they're just a shoe-in for the at least from the NL side to make it to the World Series? Or Atlanta's had a really nice season, but it's just I until I see someone beat them in a 7-game series right now, I have a tough time just saying anybody but the Dodgers.
Well, look, theoretically they should be, right? They paid all that dang money to go out there and get everybody. They have Shohei, who's obviously a legend at this point. So you should be the one that penciled on paper should be a shoe-in to represent the NL. But it is good to see Atlanta, after last year's tragic season, rebounding this year and having a much better campaign this summer so far. Philadelphia, though, they've had some pretty good success as well. Their pitching staff's pretty good. They just keep choking in the playoffs every time they get there.
Well, it's like last year where I don't know if it was, I don't want to say it's the wrong reliever. I can't remember which one it was, but the ball's hit back to you. Just pick it up and throw it up.
Yeah.
If you're throwing home, just throw it home, throw it first, do whatever you got to do. Like, I think there was 2 outs in that situation.
Yeah. Well,
it's right there. Like, just, you know.
Milwaukee, that's another team that's not too bad. We were just, we had a little guys trip to Milwaukee this past weekend, and Jacob Mizorowski, we watched him pitch
you were at
on
that
Friday.
game?
I was. It was awesome.
Whoa.
It was awesome. Obviously got lucky, but he was phenomenal. And I've been watching him a little bit, and it was interesting because that was his 1-year anniversary of making his major league debut.
Sure.
And he was dominant, and the crowd was awesome. But what I'm getting at is they have some good young pieces as well, those Milwaukee. So they're one that you can't sleep on is on the NL side. I don't know, but I think if you go back, the easy answer is yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, I hate it because they're just always there, and obviously in the NL West, but the Dodgers are probably the right answer.
Now, and all the respect in the world to Josh's Braves here, and I'd be fine if they represented the NL. The Brewers are that team where it'd be nice to see them kind of break through. They've put together their front office has done an excellent job putting together a roster that's been competitive, even after they've had to move on from pieces where people are like, all right, well, how good are they going to be when they don't have this or they don't have that, or they traded Corbin Burns or they've done this.
Yeah.
And instead, all they do is evaluate really well, scout really well, whether it's things like trading for and receiving William Contreras, who's become one of the better catchers in baseball, and helping him become a strong defensive catcher, which was a weakness of his. Or even, things like Jake Bauers is a guy that's playing really well for them right now. And he was on Tampa, Cleveland, New York, Cincinnati, I think the White Sox at one point in time, the Mariners. Like, that's a guy who's been around the league, and now he's in Milwaukee. And for whatever reason, and I don't know if it's just the structure of their player development, or he's a guy that's always had talent, but he's finally putting it all together, and he's 29, 30 years old, and he's doing it at Milwaukee. Is it sustainable? No idea. But if he can sustain it for 1 year, you're getting a heck of a baseball player there. Bryce Terang has been really good for him.
Solid, good defenseman.
Jackson Churio. Like, that is a team. And Christian Yelich, when he's healthy, can be a really, really good player. And so that Brewers team has all of that. You mentioned they've got the young players too. Like, they've got good pitching. Which crazy is they traded away Freddie Peralta, and they don't miss a beat.
No.
Like, they absolutely do not miss after moving on from these guys. And it's just such a credit to a great organization that finds ways to win.
Well, Milwaukee right now leads this NL Central 4.5 games over St. Louis. I mean, Atlanta's 44 and 26. 44 and 26.
All right. Well,
the Braves, they lead by 7 games over the Phillies in the NL, or the NL East are 46 and 25. But then you have the Dodgers are 47-27. I mean, they're running away with it already. In case you're wondering, my Rockies are 19 games back.
And then, in the
It's
American
doable.
League, which feels very much like the less than side of things, where, and not to say the Yankees are still the Yankees, and the Mariners, if they can ever just consistently put things together, have the most talent in the American League. I think they're the team that seems the most likely to be able to make a playoff push here. My prediction on Friday when we had our first show, and I forced Matt and I to make World Series predictions months out in advance with what we know from the season so far. I went Brewers over Mariners, more because I just don't want to pick the Dodgers at this point in time. But I think the Mariners look like they might be the best team in the American League, even if they haven't played like it to this point. In the AL Central, you have Cleveland and you have Chicago. And I don't know if it matters which one comes through there. They're both kind of heavily flawed teams. Chicago, fun story.
No, I was going to say, it makes me as a Rockies fan excited because obviously how bad they were recently.
Right.
And they turned it around so quick. And they kind of just hit the reset button on their roster to a certain degree. And it's worked out to this point.
No more Eloy Jimenez, no more Luis Robert. You move on from those guys. You move on from some of the pitchers. You're getting great performances from a Colson Montgomery or Murakami Muntaka.
Yeah, the third baseman or whatever.
I don't know. I think I put that name backwards.
Yeah.
I don't have it right in front
but
of me.
He's been a breakout star.
He's absolutely coming over from Japan. Nobody wanted to sign him.
Yep.
Like, it was all like, how much can this guy help us? And then he signs with the White Sox on what was a below market deal for the expectation when he came over. And lo and behold, he's been really good.
Yeah.
All he does is hit moonshots, which turns out to be a valuable thing. And so, whether it's the White Sox coming out of there or Cleveland, where they have good pitching, but the offense just isn't the same. Jose Ramirez just broke his hamate bone, so my summer feels ruined already. He's my single favorite athlete in anything right now, and to not get to see him makes it really hard to watch that team. You just they have some young players that are fun, but when your favorite player is not playing and your team is already limited as it is.
Because he's out for the year, right?
Makes it harder. What's up?
He's out for the year, though.
No, he's only out for 5 weeks. So he'll be back
5
after
weeks.
the All-Star break.
Okay.
But it's roughly 32 games. They're already 0-1 in this stretch. They might go 0-32. They may only score 32 total runs in this stretch because they have no offense, let alone now you lose your future Hall of Fame third baseman.
Yep.
That's going to be tough. And then the AL East, the Yankees, the Baltimore Orioles are making a bit of a run. The Rays are there. The Blue Jays have started to play better. Everybody but Boston might be a threat.
Which is unfortunate because I've been kind of quietly rooting for Boston on the AL side, or like my AL team, if you will.
Okay.
The Boston Red Sox. And for whatever reason, ever since they traded away Mookie Betts, they just have gone downhill.
Well, trading a superstar in his prime because your alleged ownership group can't afford him despite having one of the richest ownership groups in sports. Kind of hard to believe.
Unbelievable.
But, what are you going to do there? And so Boston kind of toiling right now, and I don't think there's a whole lot of hope for this season. The MVP race on the AL side, Bobby Witt and Yordan Alvarez, two guys that aren't playing for teams likely to go to the playoffs.
No.
But they're both having outstanding seasons.
Well, Yordan just continues to rake.
Yeah, right? That guy, when he's healthy, there's an argument to be made that when he is healthy, he is as good a hitter as anybody in baseball.
Yes.
I mean, he's not the fastest, but that guy can absolutely turn on anything. And then with those Crawford boxes and left, I mean, you don't have to hit it that far for it to be a home run. The good news for him, or anybody who enjoys majestic home runs, he hits them that far.
Yeah.
That guy's got power.
I think he enjoyed playing at Coors Field last month because I think he knocked two or three out in Denver. I think all the big sluggers.
Did he go to the rock pile? Did he go all the way out there to center?
Yeah. He's strong enough. That guy legit could.
Yeah, no, I
mean,
believe
he's so strong.
I absolutely believe that. And so, we will we'll keep an eye on what's happening with baseball there, and we'll see what's going on with Major League Baseball as we get deeper into the season. I'm trying to think if there's any other major performances I kind of want to note. Mason Miller finally gave up some runs, but he still looks incredible. Shohei Ohtani looks like he's going to – is he going to win both MVP and Cy Young?
Probably.
Is this the year
alien. He's an alien. Of course he's going to. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I wish he didn't play for the Dodgers because I would get to enjoy it more. But even though he still plays for the Dodgers, he's incredible. Yeah. Like watching him, it just doesn't even seem like this is fair.
He's one.
How do you have so much talent in two of the hardest things to do in all of sports?
He's one of those dudes where it's an appointment watching, right? If he's coming up to bat, you got to watch it. Like if the TV's on, got to watch it. The rest of it, I don't care.
Yeah, and then the absolute best is you get those games where he's both pitching and hitting, and it's like, man, how does anybody have this much talent? It's unfair. It's unfair to the rest of us, particularly me, who did not have enough talent in either of those things to do much of anything.
Hey, don't count out Rocktober. We could see another legendary run like we did several years ago. Remember that?
I don't have like a second favorite team in sports, but if I had one in baseball, I have like this affinity for the Rockies. Yeah. Maybe because I can sense that their ownership group, much like the Dolans in Cleveland, are holding them back to a small degree. But it's also, I just love that stadium. I love that it's unique.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because both teams shared Ubaldo Jimenez for
That's
snippet in time. I don't know what it is, but I really want the Rockies to be good. They were in the playoffs a few years ago, or at least had reached the wild card round. I think again
they've had we've had 3 straight 100 loss seasons, 2 or 3 straight. That's really bad, by the way.
They got a lot of young talent. But
you can't keep trading it away.
I know
that doesn't help either.
Well, you needed to develop, like you needed I can't think of the second baseman who. Brendan Rodgers, you need those guys to hit.
And that didn't happen.
You need Jordan Beck to not backslide off of the kind of season he had last year. You needed Brendan Doyle to go from Gold Glove outfielder to you can actually put him in your lineup and get base
He
hits.
can't hit. He cannot hit anymore. Yeah, and the Yankees continue to just purchase them or trade for Rockies, like obsessed with Colorado.
Hey, Ryan McMahon.
The amount of people that they've got that were former Rockies.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
They raised them well, I guess.
No doubt about it. All right. Here at the Omaha Baseball Village, we want to remind you to save the date for Friday Night Live at the Mat, Friday, June 19th. Pet Rock plays at OBV for the first time. Grab your friends. Get ready to party. This is an all-ages show. That means you should bring your kids. Enjoy Pet Rock. We'll see you next Friday at the Mat. And, of course, these shows here, special editions of Middays with Matt, the special editions of Unsportsmanlike Conduct, are powered by Access Bank. Here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. We will be back, and we are going to talk. We are going to get you prepared for the games ahead. We've got 2 big elimination games. North Carolina, West Virginia will be playing at 1. Later today, we will get to see Georgia and Oklahoma. We're going to make some predictions, and we're going to get you right up there to the Westwood 1 coverage here on 1620 The Zone. Welcome back in here to the Omaha Baseball Village, 1620 The Zone. On the scene, I'm Mike Schaefer, Tyler Cavalli, sitting in here today. Special edition of Middays with Matt. No, Matt, you've had us, and I don't know if it's an upgrade or not, but I've had a great time here today, Tyler. I appreciate you coming in from Central Nebraska, joining us, pitch and hitting, if you would.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Thanks for having me out here. And honestly, the weather's been great. It got like a little warm/muggy out, and I think there's a nice little breeze.
Yeah.
Also, easy for us to say we're inside an air-conditioned little spot. It's terrific.
It's even better.
It's a great spot.
Both times that this spot really comes through is when it's raining,
okay,
and you're covered, or when people just seem absolutely miserable being completely outdoors, and you're just inside and covered, and you're next to this wonderful array of Coca-Cola and everything else that we have over here. So, all right, Josh, would you like to give us a weather and traffic report?
I would. We were just talking about the weather, so I'll start there. Winds are going to pick up today. Temperature and humidity is going to pick up today. Let's see what Marty McEwen has to say. Mostly sunny today. Gusty winds this afternoon. High near 90. Winds from the northwest increase 15 to 30 miles an hour. Higher in the afternoon. I believe we affectionately refer to that here on 1620 The Zone as hot wind. Tonight, the wind subsides after sunset, low of 64, so you won't need to break out that jacket. A lot of people in the stands wearing jackets last night. Never seen that before at the College World Series. Tomorrow, if we're playing baseball, partly sunny, cooler, light winds, high of 82. And do need to update you on the weekend forecast because you will need to be flexible. Both days will bring a good chance of thunderstorms. Currently, the timing, too soon to say, as Mike Farron likes to say on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. The best chance for precipitation will be during the day, Saturday through early morning Sunday. So today, a little hotter, but good. Championship Series weekend we could be doing a lot of extra hashtag topics, topic alert.
Okay.
Traffic, it's always brought to you by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Learn more about parking in advance at parkomaha.com. Cummings Street backed up to Florence Boulevard, 20th Street, somewhere in that general area. So not too terrible if you're trying to get in here just before our game between West Virginia and North Carolina starts off. Watch out for pedestrians and drivers who might not just be, they're just not as smart as you. They don't know. You got a way that you're going to the stadium. You know your way. Everybody else is an idiot and getting in your way. I get it. Traffic presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Learn more about parking in advance at parkomaha.com.
All right. We have reached it. We are about to go in a little bit here to get you prepared for this contest coming up with West Virginia and North Carolina here at 1 o'clock. And then, of course, we have Georgia and Oklahoma. Tyler, these teams played on Sunday night. It was kind of like both games that North Carolina has played so far. Sort of a back-and-forth affair, low-scoring 2-2 game that North Carolina gets it into the late innings. They get a few guys on. They mount some pressure on the opposing pitcher, and they have someone come through with a big swing. In this case, I believe it was Gallagher who had the big double into the gap there in right center, and he comes through for North Carolina, and they're able to put some runs on the board and take full advantage at that point with only the top of the ninth left for West Virginia, who could not mount a comeback. And so I find myself wondering if you're West Virginia, if it's critical for you with what we've seen from North Carolina. Their bullpen has been so good at covering long stretches of games in these first two games that they've won. It almost feels like West Virginia has to find a way to get on the board in the first couple innings of this game. And as soon as you have the opportunity to hang a crooked number, whether that's a couple guys, a bloop and a blast, or, 2 home runs in the same inning, whatever it is, if you can do that and give yourself a little bit of lift early, I think it goes a long way.
I definitely agree. You want to get off to that hot start early on in this contest. Also knowing that the offense was there. It was just there yesterday, right?
Yep.
It exploded in that game. So at any moment, you know that you have the capabilities of doing so. But also the familiarity has to be a positive for West Virginia going forward. And knowing that, all right, obviously if you beat them one game, you have one more to go. But if you're able to do that, then you feel, I think, pretty dang good going into what would be tomorrow's game at that point. Yeah, but also their bullpen was pretty solid yesterday too. Was West Virginia's?
Yeah, no, and that's you're going to have to get some pitching performances to get you to a Thursday, if necessary, game. And then I wonder, do you think for a team like West Virginia, who's kind of been in this spot already, when you were facing Kentucky and they were up, they had won their 2 games and they're playing, and you're at home. That's the big difference here. Surrounded by both Mountaineer fans and pepperoni rolls as far as the eye can see, of which we've not seen here in Omaha. I'm a little disappointed in our Omaneers and everything. The pepperoni rolls have not made an appearance. You may not know this, Tyler. That's apparently a big delicacy.
I did not
in Morgantown, stemming from the coal mining days.
Okay,
they used to send the coal miners down there, and pepperoni rolls were their lunch or dinner. It was an easy thing for them to pack. This is not like some sort of weird preamble to a joke. This is honestly true. Happer and I found this out, before West Virginia got in, and we were just assuming the streets of Omaha would be flooded with Mountaineer fans and their pepperoni rolls, and been a little disappointed in that. We'll see. Maybe if they get to the championship series. But what I was getting at there is they were down in this spot against Kentucky. Like, is that something you think that they can draw on here as they're thinking about? It's not just you got to win today, you got to win tomorrow to get to the championship game, but that tomorrow doesn't matter if you don't win today. So I have to assume if you're the Mountaineers, you're looking at this like we've been here. Like, we've had our backs against the wall. Our backs are against the wall against Troy. We won 12-0. Our backs against the wall against Kentucky in the 9th inning at home, and we came back and we won that game. So I have to think from a mental standpoint, they should be able to play free and easy today.
You should play free and easy because of a couple of facts. The one that you just mentioned in terms of they've been able to do it before. But at the same time, they're not expected to be here to this point, especially in a spot where they can try to eliminate a team like North Carolina that is used to these kind of scenarios, playing for and winning national championships. So, yeah, if you're them, you got to feel, hey, we're doing pretty dang good at this point. We know we hung with them in the first game, North Carolina, that is. No reason they can't do that again here today. And so that'll be interesting to see how that goes coming into this afternoon.
Yeah, and you got the North Carolina side of it where it's like, just keep doing what you're doing. You're getting the great pitching. You're getting the timely hitting. You're preventing teams from putting up big run spots on you. And you've basically done that all throughout the regional and then the super regional. And that's what's going to allow you to potentially set yourself up for that perfect scenario where you have only had to play the minimum number of games to reach the championship series. So you've got that with North Carolina and West Virginia today. Do you want to get a prediction on file here? You want to put something down?
Yeah, I think North Carolina does win this one, but I'm going to go ahead and say the next game, Georgia, I think, has a lot of momentum right now, too.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let you and Brian break down that Georgia-Oklahoma matchup. I am going contrarian here. I think West Virginia gets us to a Thursday, if necessary, with North Carolina. I don't know if they're going to win that one, but I think we get one more game on this side of the draw with these two teams. And so I'm excited for this contest that's coming up. I'm excited for all the action that you can hear on 1620 The Zone with Westwood One, John Bishop on the call, Connor Happer on the call, Josh Peterson on the field. Great stuff ahead here on 1620 The Zone. Tyler, it's been a pleasure working with you today.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent and wonderful special edition.